everybody, welcome back for our brand new week 2 of math. I'm finally so happy that we could be working together through this. I know last week was crazy with the packet situation. Don't worry about at all going back and getting that stuff done. You obviously can. I know a lot of you guys did the work in your notebook, but we are ready to actually work together here. So starting today, we are on week 2, and in your math packet, it looks like this. Let me go ahead and scroll up a little bit. It says week 2, mathematics grade 3, remote learning activities, and we're going to be on day 1, which is today. It's Tuesday. So we're just going to do day 1 today. And something I talked about last week a lot is that this math packet is not about just getting the right answer. Remember, it's about you thinking through each and every question. If you have someone to talk to at home, this is an excellent opportunity to just really talk about your math thinking. In class, we have our powerful partners. We don't have that here. So you definitely want to utilize maybe an older sibling, a cousin, talk to a parent, whoever, about what you're thinking with your math work. There's about 3 problems a day, so it's not a ton, but it definitely makes you think through a lot of the problems. So we're going to work through these together, and I'm going to help get you started, and then you guys are going to finish them on your own today. So send me pictures of your math work because I would love to see it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's jump in and let's get started. So the first question is called a story problem, and there's 3 of them, A, B, C. Now I went ahead and I got A and B started for us, and then you're going to have C all by yourself. So let's take a look. Mr. B bought 3 jars of honey, which weighed a total of 24 ounces. If all the jars weighed the same amount, how much did each jar weigh? Now in the directions, it said to show your thinking in words, numbers, or sketches. Be sure to label your answers with correct units. So I went ahead and I made a sketch and I did a tape diagram. You know Mrs. Bush loves making tape diagrams. That's something we do in our Eureka Math all the time. So I went ahead and I drew 3 jars of honey because it told me Mr. B bought 1, 2, 3 jars of honey. And they weighed a total of 24 ounces. That's where I got this big 24 here. If every jar weighed the same amount, how much did each jar weigh? So this one can't weigh 20 and these can't each weigh 2 because that's not fair. They have to be the same. So when I see this, I think about division problem, those tape diagrams, or a multiplication problem. 3 times what equals 24, or 24 divided by 3 equals what? So I'm going to actually write that down right here. 24 divided by 3 equals what? And I'm going to use my 3s. I know I can count by 3s, and I know the answer is 8. So let's see if that works, okay? Let's try it. We're going to try to count by 8s. So here's 8. Oh, did not mean to do that. 8. And then another 8. There's 16. And then another 8. Hey, look, we got 24. So how much did each jar weigh? You can't stop there because I have to have a answer with the correct units. So each jar weighs 8 ounces. There's my answer right there, 8 ounces. Okay, so A is done. Now B is a little bit different. So let's go ahead and read this. Mrs. B also bought 24 ounces of honey. Do you see that? She put 3 ounces of honey into several small jars. How many jars did she use? So this time the unknown is how many jars. What was the unknown in this one? It was how much did each jar weigh. Now we know each jar weighs 3, but we don't know how many jars. We know the total. But if this little baby jar weighs 3, then that means this little jar weighs 3. And that means that this little jar weighs 3. And this little jar weighs 3 until we get to what number? We have to stop at 24. So how many jars does it take to get to 24 if each jar weighs 3? So I can count by 3s. 3, 6, 9. We got to keep going. So your job is to keep going and figure out how many jars did she, ooh, whoa, how many jars did she use? Blank jars. So I want you to figure out how many jars does it take to get to 24, okay? And then C, you're going to do C all by yourself. So I did A with you, B, I started it with you, and then C is going to be by yourself. So we have a problem about Mrs. Moth, who picked 8 flowers. Each flower has had 6 petals. How many petals are on the flowers that Mrs. Moth picked? So I want to know the total amount of petals. How many petals on each flower? Now I know there's 6 petals on one flower, but there's 8 flowers. So you're going to have to do something. Are you going to draw a picture? Are you going to do a multiplication problem? You're going to have to decide how you're going to solve this problem. I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. All right. Now, we're on our second problem today, and this is all about time. Now, in this question, it's definitely a problem solving. It's actually like our number tiles that we have in class. And look what the directions say. Use the digits 1 to 9, at most 1 time each, to fill the boxes to make the latest possible time. So there's several things in here that make this kind of like a riddle, a math riddle solve. Here are the digits I'm allowed to use. Remember, digits, and look, there's no 0. I'm not allowed to use 0. Even though 0 is a digit, it says I can only use the digits 1 to 9. So I can't use the same digit twice. So I couldn't make like the number 12. I could make the number 12, but what I can't do is I can't make the number 10. Excuse me. Now, in this problem here, there's another interesting factor. This is why I said 12, because I was thinking about it. If I want to make 12 o'clock or 12:57, I can't make 12:57 because there's only one space. I couldn't make 12 because I can only put one digit in each box. So that stinks because I want to have a late time, and I'm in PM. That's important too, because like if for New Year's Eve, if it's 11:59 p.m., it's about to be midnight in AM, because that's how clocks work. You guys did a bunch of this in 2nd grade. So what could my latest time be? So I already said I can't make 12 o'clock because I don't have 2 boxes here. Can I do 11 o'clock? I can't do 11 because I can't do the number 1 twice. How about 10 o'clock? Can I do 10 o'clock? No, because it's 0. So it looks like the only one I could do is 9 o'clock. So I'm going to erase that number 9, and I'm going to put 9. It's going to be 9 something. Do you see how I got that? I can't have 10, I can't have 11, I can't have 12. So 9 is my latest time right now. So 9 what? Now, just like with our standardized clocks, when we ever talk about time, we don't say 9:67. Even though that means 60 minutes are in an hour, we don't talk like that when we do our clocks. So what's the latest time I could have? 9:80 something? I can't do, that's not how we would read our clocks. 9:70 something? Nope. 9:60 something? Nope. 9:50 something. Okay, so 50 what? So what could I put? So the 5 would work here. 9:50, what are you thinking? 9:58, okay, that could work. That could be a good place to start. Now, the coolest part about these is that you can play around with this however you want. There's actually, you could probably have a later time than this, because this is saying how many minutes after 9:58 p.m. So if it's 9:58 p.m., how many minutes after? Now, I know you could say, well, it's 87 minutes, but remember, when we're talking about our clocks and time, we want to make sure we stay in that 60-minute zone. So that 60 minutes are an hour, so we're going to be able to go up to that point, okay? Even though you could say 67 minutes, whenever we talk about it, we're usually going to say, hey, it's an hour and 10 minutes, right? So it could be 58 minutes, it could be 42 minutes. So how many minutes after this time could it be? Now you might think, and actually I've seen this before, you might say, hey, I have an idea. What if I stick 58 minutes here? 58 minutes after what time are you thinking about? What could I put here to make a new number. And I want you to see if you can play around with these and figure out which numbers could go here. Okay, this is a complete thinking through problem. Like I said earlier, guys, there's not a right or wrong answer here. You are just trying to play around with time. I want you to use, if you have a clock in your house, even if you have a digital time, you can still use. I know on my cell phone, I'm able to set it up into something called analog. Analog is where I can see the clock hands. Play around with it and see if you can find the latest time possible. Okay? This is a fun one. It's just a complete kind of riddle to see if you can figure that out. And the very last problem is called a fraction talk. Now, for this fraction, they want to know what fraction of the big square is represented by each region. So a region is like a piece of the square. So this is a region, 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 region. But in order to find this out, I have to find out what each region is worth. And I can't just guess. I can't just be like, well, it could be this or it could be this. I have to really break this down. So a good strategy is to find the smallest region and see if I can finish cutting the rest of it to equal that same size. So look what I'm doing. I'm just kind of taking the line, I'm continuing it. I'm going to make all these squares the best that I can. So I'm going to continue this one straight up. I'm going to cross this one. And this one I'm just going to kind of guesstimate. Look at that. And if you can see, I have a whole square array. Now, so what does this mean each of these are worth? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Remember, the denominator of something is what is it cut up into. So how many pieces do you see here? I'm trying to get my text box here so I can label my number. Okay, so this is 1/16. And that's how I can make my fraction mark. So this is 1/16 right here, right there. So all of these are a 16th. Remember, that's how we say that? But if I look at, I can take away this line. Oh, look at that. This is 1/16 and 1/16. But if I put 1/16 plus 1/16 together, I would get, do you see it? It would be 1 plus 1. It would be 2/16. So each of these together makes 2/16. So I'm going to go ahead and 2/16. Look at that. Now, if I take away this piece and this piece, maybe if I can get it. Oh, I don't know if it will let me. Try to take away. There we go. So I had these two, 1, 2, 3. That would be 3/16. 3/16. Okay, I'm getting my regions done. Okay, now I'm going to move away this big line because that helps me see. Okay, so look at this. This region, 1, 2. This region, 1, 2. Do you see how those are both 2/16? Same as this, and they actually look the exact same size too, don't they? The exact same size. That's awesome. And then the big one right here. And I should have probably kept that line, so I'm going to bring it back. Because when I had this line right here, if you see, you can see how my squares are all perfectly 1/16, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This actually equals 6/16. Do you see it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this big thing actually equals 6/16. So I'm going to get rid of this line right here and that one. And I'm going to put 6/16 right here in the big one. Now, we need to see if these add up to 16/16 because remember, 16/16 equals 1 whole. When we have 16/16, that equals 1 whole. So let's count them. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 2 more is 10. Plus 1 more is 11, plus 2 more is 13, plus 3 more is 16. So it all adds up to 1 whole. Now, this is kind of an extra bonus, and you can try this at home. In 4th grade, you'll have to reduce these fractions. And you can see I took half a 6